Hello from the Music Interview Corner. Today from Knotfest in Turku and with Nightwish, with Tuomas and Kai.
Hello, hiya.
Hi. Thank you so much for taking time for this interview.
Of course.
How does it feel for you guys to be the headliner at the first ever Knotfest in Finland?
Privileged, really. Every time you get to do something for the first time ever, there's a special feeling to it, and that's how we all feel at the moment. And also, it's the last show of the festival season, which has been pretty intense this summer. So there's a bit of bittersweet and melancholic feelings going on as well.
Oh, but I bet you can put that in your music tonight.
It might channel there, yeah.
How does it feel for you?
Wonderful, yeah. I've been a fan of Slipknot since they actually started back in 95. Of course, the first album came in 99, but I've been enjoying that band, and I'm looking forward to see them play tomorrow as well. And a lot of other good bands here as well these 2 days, so I'm really happy.
So on April 10th in 2020, you published your 9th studio album, Human Nature.
Now when you say it out loud, it feels really awkward. It's been more than 2 years and 4 months.
I know, but I felt we all lost so much time to the lockdowns.
We sure did, yeah.
And this album is totally different than all your previous albums, because it's a double album, and one album is this more organic heavy metal sound only with choirs and strings, and then the other album, the other disc, is more orchestral and has only a very minimal amount of wordless singing. How did you come up with this concept?
Disc number 1 is the human side, disc number 2 is the nature side. I mean, first you spend 10 songs with mankind, with a lot of racket going on, different stories, very complex, multi-layered instrumentations, and then you can relax for half an hour in the nature by putting on the second CD. That was the idea of it. And I mean, I can't remember how long I've been wanting to realize a song like that with Nightwish, to do an instrumental orchestral soundtrack piece, which would be like our tribute to the beautiful planet Earth. And now when I listen to it, I just feel really proud that we were able to pull it off in the way that we did.
Yeah, I think you should be. I mean, I love meditation, and I tried to meditate to some of the tracks on the second disc, and it worked pretty well.
Excellent.
Were you also out in nature when you composed tracks for the second disc?
Oh, I can't remember in detail. I spend a lot of time outdoors doing stuff, and lots of ideas for the music and for the songs that we do, they come from nature. But the actual composing job is done in my home studio upstairs in our own house.
And how did you experience the recordings for Human Nature?
Of course, it was a bit different because the previous album, Endless Forms, I came in as a substitute for Jukka in the last minute.
Yeah.
So it was quite hectic to do that album, and with Human Nature, I got a bit more time to think about what I want to play in there and stuff like that. So it was a little bit more personal for me to do that Human Nature. So I was really happy with the end result.
And the first single from Human Nature was actually also my favorite song on the first disc, Noise. And you have an amazing music video for Noise. But I noticed also it has some really dark visuals, or pretty heavy visuals and symbolism. And it's about humans enslaving themselves to all things digital. How did you come up with this idea?
Just by watching the world today.
Oh, yeah, that's a very sad answer, actually. Yeah.
It just had to be done. I spent a lot of time in the discussion forums in the internet, a thing that I had never done before and never will do. But just to get myself excited and on the right mood to write the lyrics for that song, I went there into the deep pits of hell, and that's how the song was born. Personally, it still has an optimistic vibe to it. I think smart devices, they have done much more good than bad to the world and to mankind. They are wonderful tools, but the way we are using them often, it's really terrifying. So we should keep them as our slaves and not vice versa. But like you see at the end of that video, you see the beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
So the world is still out there, so go out and get in.
Yeah, and take off this helmet.
Yeah.
Maybe listen to the second disc of your double album.
Well, that's a start. And it was a personal journey for me as well, because while writing that song, I realized that I'm personally also spending far too much time in that digital world. The first thing that I do when I wake up, I grab the phone, read the news, whatever. I don't do that anymore because I've set some limits at 1 hour after waking up, 1 hour before the bed. Just don't touch the damn thing. And I try to use it as a tool for searching information, real information, and entertain myself when I get bored on tours. YouTube is a wonderful invention. It's just down to the balance of how much you use it and how.
Yeah, that's very good strategy. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, Tuomas is totally right, and I think about myself as well. How much time do I spend in the internet doing stupid shit and searching for stupid shit? So I've also been waking up myself a little bit more, with that I shouldn't be there like every time checking my phone 30 times a day. But yeah. Especially on the tour, it's a good tool to entertain yourself.
Yeah, and I feel when you're traveling, also for me, or during the lockdowns, all your friends are in there somehow, all your dear ones that you can't see. So it's very tempting to spend too much time with it, I feel.
Yeah, sure. It's a really good way of killing time. And you also have to remember that when you see, let's say, a kid reading a book, it's always like, well done, that's the way to do it. When you see a kid reading a book from a smartphone, it's like, get off that smartphone already. So you have to remember that it's not all bad. People, kids, everybody, they can actually do really good things with them. But unfortunately, many of them are not.
Yeah, so true.
And that's the reminder of the video.
That's a more serious topic, but I think there's a lot of bands when they have problems, they can look up to other bands who got through problems. And I think in 2001, you thought that Nightwish was over, right? And I wanted to ask you, I mean, now we're here like 21 years later and multiple like gold records later and Emma Awards later. How did you get through this difficult time and what helps you to keep going?
On a practical level, getting a manager to take care of all the stuff that I wasn't very good at or interested at all. So that was the biggest change. Then we got a new bass player and singer in Marco, and off we went. So basically those two things.
Good. And yeah, you were not in the band back then, but you are lucky probably that they are still existing, right?
Yeah, I've been following Nightwish since the beginning, and I have all the albums on my shelf, so to speak. So it was when I was asked to help, 2014. So of course I was really privileged and honored to do that. But of course I was a little bit involved already in the two previous albums, in Dark Passion Play and Janeiro. As a drum, tuning the drums in the studio and playing a little bit percussion and tambourine and blah blah blah. But yeah, so of course it's been a wonderful ride, so to speak. So what we have done together for the past 8 years.
Yeah, and I want to also to talk about Imaginarium. Before you went on your Imaginarium World Tour in 2012, you had like a secret warm-up gig in LA at the Key Club, and you performed under the name Rubber Band of Wolves. I wanted to know, how did you come up with that name?
I think it was Evo, our manager. He's really good at coming up with new names. And all these secret shows that we have done in the past, all those secret names, they came from him. But yeah, I think Rubber Band of the Wolves is by far the best one.
I think so, yeah.
I have no idea what it means.
No, me neither. And I wonder who's coming to the show. Then they get a real surprise when they then see you.
I bet they did, yeah.
And you just said you did a lot of like wonderful things during the last 8 years. Can I ask you, what is the craziest thing you guys ever did on tour?
Craziest thing?
Yes, or funniest thing?
There's been so many moments. But I guess the best thing, at least for me, is how we enjoy ourselves and each other's company on the road. So I think that's of course it's always funny, like Troy's like the walking fun book as a person, and he always makes us laugh. Empu as well, he's really funny person, and it's always when somebody's a little bit down, and always somebody brings and cheers us up, so it's great.
It's a wonderful balance of coconuts. The different personalities within the band, also the crew, the management, people around us who are helping us. The diversity of personalities is so fascinating, and they complement each other perfectly.
And it's good like that you have such a good chemistry, because you probably want to go another 20 years or something. I think that's probably one of the most important things.
One thing that I've learned in the past years is never to promise anything.
Okay.
Because I remember saying that if there's one more band member change in the band, that's it. And then Margo dropped the bomb a couple of years ago, and I really thought that was it. But here we still are.
Yeah.
So just go a year or two albums at the time.
Of course, as long as it's fun what we do, we have to enjoy what we do. So as long as it's fun, and then it's worth it. And we enjoy each other's company, and we enjoy the music we're sharing together.
I still get the same vibes as I did 27 years ago when I wrote the first Nightwish songs. I still get that same feeling when I finish writing a new song and realize that this is going to be something special. Or even if you get one part finished, like the perfect chorus, at least in my own head, the adrenaline rush that comes at that specific moment it's the best thing in the world. And I'm just so happy, and I feel privileged that it's still there inside. And I hope it's there for the decades to come.
I hope so too. But I have a good feeling it will be. And since August 2020, there is an exposition about your band here in Finland, in Kitee.
Oh, yeah.
And I think your friend and designer Toxic Angel, Janne Pitkänen, is heavily involved in that. How does it feel for you guys that you have an own exposition dedicated to your band?
When I first heard about the idea, I was a bit skeptical about it, that how it's going to look like. Do we have enough history behind us that this is worth making? But then when I saw the final result, Janne being there and Mape as well, they did such a fantastic job, and I think the exhibition is really dignified. It looks like the band. It's really interesting, and I've heard nothing but positive feedback from people who have been there. So, well done, guys.
Yeah. Do you want to add anything? By the way, the exposition is called A Nightwish Story. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't personally visited there yet, but I will probably next time we go to Kitee next year. So, but what I've heard, most of the people that has been visiting there, they have said it's wonderful. So, good job.
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out next time I'm there. So then, thank you so much, Kai and Tuomas, for the interview, and goodbye from the Music Interview Corner.